you came to the boot camp, I guess, what, a couple of weeks ago, so it should be pretty fresh in your mind. Was there anything in particular that you liked about the event? Just kind of a real open question.
So no, I think overall, and I had a chance to talk to Diana on the way out, and I think overall everything was top notch, from the programming, the presentation, everything on the travel part of it. You really all did a phenomenal job, and I learned a lot. Not being part of the safety program or safety side of things, I took away a lot of good information. And so my intent is to build on that information and really start developing a safety culture for the company.
That's fantastic. Was there anything that surprised you about the program?
You know what? It was really well run. So I wasn't really sure what to expect when I came in there. I really had no expectations whatsoever, but I was thoroughly impressed. I really was. The entire team, everything really was really well done.
Very good.
So kudos to you and your team for that. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. Would you say was there a biggest takeaway for you? Was there one thing that really stuck out?
So let's see, there was a lot of information that I took away. Again, because I come from a different perspective, right? So, one of the things that I didn't know that was an option was the custom content part of it. And so when we did our safety meeting in person, earlier in the year, we didn't have a great attendance. And so the roll call feature is phenomenal. And then the custom content feature, in terms of being able to disseminate that PowerPoint to the attendees that were not there, or the drivers that were not attending, would have been really nice as well. So I have yet to do that, but I think that was a really interesting part that I learned. And then, what else I found really interesting is the attorney, the clip of the attorney that you had played.
Right.
Very well done. Got some great information out of that as well. So,
yeah, sadly in this business, that part is important to kind of know how to be defendable, because with crashes in trucking, it's not if it's going to happen, it's just when.
Absolutely.
And you have to be prepared, and you have to be able to defend yourself. So I'm glad that was a big part for you. Let me run this by you. This is something we're considering. We've been kicking around the idea of inviting our boot camp guests to bring in their loss runs and expense sheets. And the idea is that we could put in a segment where we might sit down and actually build a targeted training plan. And here's kind of how we think we would do it. We would kind of have a sample of a loss runs or expense sheets on the screen, and let the guests kind of look at their own individually. What would you have felt like if you'd have been asked to bring those items? Because that's kind of the key question that we have here.
I would have been very
comfortable with that.
100%. Yeah, I think it would have been a good add-on, to be honest with you, because it does give a very specialized attention to the individual company. I think most people would be receptive to that.
Yeah, I kind of thought so. And, that's, as a CFO, those are more along the lines of things that at least I understand you would generally be looking at. Where are we spending money? Where are we bleeding money? How much money are we spending on tires because the driver hit the curb and flattened the tire, or backed into a stationary object? All those things are expenses that add up greatly in companies, and very often are things that you can attend to with training. So,
and I think it helps. Yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off. I think it does help build a case for ownership. So we are a small company, right? And so oftentimes I find myself having to justify how we're going to spend the company's money. And if I had those resources and say, look, tires, for example, we can mitigate some of the tire expense by doing these, enacting these safety measures, right? So very important. I think, That's
good. That's good to know. I appreciate that feedback. we don't have a lot of CFOs that come to our program. Most of them, as you know, are safety managers or maybe risk management. But from your perspective, Oscar, what do you wish more safety and training managers understood from a CFO's standpoint? That may be kind of a loaded question, but
yeah. So what would it, I think that, so in, my case is a little unique, I think. We have a safety person in place, who's nearing retirement and hasn't really been very proactive. And that's why that's why you saw me there, because I'm adopting some of their roles, right? And so I think the impact to the bottom line, and safety managers may understand that. In my experience, in the current situation, the bottom line is not the objective, and so unfortunately, because we don't have a robust safety plan in place, there isn't much there. And so, I'll be honest with you, Steve. My exposure in this type of space is not great. It has not been a good experience, with the safety side of things. So, I am taking on that responsibility and trying to build on that programming now. And so ultimately, I don't know if I can, genuinely answer that question in general terms, right? And in my experience, I think, it's been difficult. It's been difficult. My objective is to manage the bottom line. So we look at insurance claims, we look at things, but I suspect that in most cases, safety managers do those things.
Yeah, you would hope so, but I'm not sure that in every case that is how they think. They're looking to reduce accidents and try to improve CSA scores. All those things can have a positive impact on your bottom line, but I don't know that they're necessarily thinking about, gosh, I really need to do a better job of training my drivers because they keep damaging tires or they keep backing into stationary objects and causing damage to our equipment, trailers, and other people's things. Some of those little small things that they don't necessarily consider to be a big safety issue, yet it is a training issue and something that could have a positive impact on the bottom line. I'm not sure they always think along those lines.
Yeah, perhaps not. One of the things in our in-person safety meeting that we had with our drivers, I asked them, I put it, I was very blunt. I said, help me help you, right? Because I want to reward people. I want to improve and lift the company up. And as I do that, I am the type of person that wants to then share that with others, right? And so
that's great.
If you help me, I will help you. And so I think it is a symbiotic relationship that we're developing. And I hope to continue building on that. So
fantastic. One real quick last question. Do you think this event has value for other CFOs and COOs? And if so, how could it have more value for them?
So I do. I left there with a new sense of what safety managers are going through and what they see. And so I think that this all intertwines with managing the bottom line. It really does.
Yes,
and so somebody from my vantage point, knowing what, the culture, having to develop a safety culture and integrate it into the company, and what the result hopefully would be lower, improved loss runs, lower costs, and so on and so forth. It does impact them. And so I think it would be, wise for CFOs and, anybody in the C-suite to participate and understand, because oftentimes we don't make the time. This is not my area. And you end up learning a lot and learning what your drivers are going through and what your safety role managers are going through as well. So, yeah.
I think what you're really talking about here is you're approaching a true safety culture where everybody in the company, safety is a big part of the company. It's also a big part of the finances of the company. All those things have to work together. Safety, upper management, the executive suite, all those people have to be focused on safety, and all those things in the end will help make a more successful, more profitable company.
Agreed. And I think it was you that pointed it out and said, don't just have your drivers do the safety programming. Everybody in the team should be participating as well. And I'm like, that at first I didn't understand why you were thinking that. And as I sat there, I'm like, why would he want and then you kind of later, shared, and I'm like, that kind of makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah,
you develop a culture.
Yeah, everybody has to sort of be rowing in the same direction. I think of safety culture. You really truly have a safety culture when you're always doing the right thing, even when nobody's looking.
100%.
So I think that's when you've developed that culture, everybody can point out something they think is unsafe. There's no repercussions. Everybody is pushing in the same direction. And certainly companies that can reduce accidents and incidents and reduce those things that cost money, that safety program can improve the overall bottom line of the company at the same time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Oscar, thank you very much, sir. I promised you I wouldn't take up too much of your time. I do certainly appreciate you joining me today. Thank you for that. And all I can say is I wish you all the best there. I hope the economy gets better and the business is booming and everything is great. That's all I can hope for you.
I appreciate that, Steve. I do. And I want to thank you and your team for doing an outstanding job again. It was a pleasure meeting you and working with your team. And you guys did a great program. So, yes.
Very good, Oscar. Thank you much, sir. Appreciate it. Call me anytime if you got questions or want to run something by me. I'm here and willing to listen to what y'all have to say out there. So
I appreciate
feel free
that.
to do that if you think about it.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Oscar. Appreciate you, sir. All right.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.